do this. Probably the most excited I've been for a podcast and the most off script I'm going to go. I don't really have much written down, but on Wednesday, I did a blog post on confidence and how developing confidence and having confidence can go a really long way and kind of be a superpower in your life and in your fitness journey or in your health journey, whatever it may be. And this is coming from a person that doesn't carry a lot of confidence naturally. I find it very cheesy to talk about confidence, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's important to talk about. In classes, I call them story times, and often it's usually really silly stuff that just happens in Izzy and I's life, and I just share it with the class in as fun and exciting way as possible. And I'm bringing story time to the podcast today, and there's 3 times in my life that I vividly remember having a serious lack of confidence when approaching the situation, and I want to be vulnerable and talk about those today and kind of how the lead up to it and the outcomes of it almost always turn out positive when you believe in what you're doing and you're confident in it and you've put in the work. That confidence can carry you a long way, and that's what I plan on doing today, a little story time. So story number 1 is how I started fitness and the lack of confidence I had in that journey. In 2017, I was a competitive soccer player. I was 130 pounds, very, very tiny, and I wanted to kind of take my game to the next level. I was very serious about it. I wanted to play collegiately, and I kept talking to coach after coach after coach after coach that pretty much said the same thing, that I was too tiny, that I was going to get tossed around on the field, and I needed to put on some size to play at the next level. And that kind of led me into a gym space, and the gym space has always scared me. In high school soccer practices, I would actually avoid the gym sessions at all costs because I didn't think it was necessary for me at the time, and I just wasn't confident going into a gym and lifting weights because I had no idea how to do it, and I never had anyone teach me how to do it. And it's just something that always made me nervous, and I didn't think I needed. And I remember very, very vividly the first couple times I was driving to the gym from Mount Dora to Eustis, the steering wheel would be wet because I was so nervous and sweaty stepping into the gym doing something that I had no idea what to do. I remember crying a couple times. I remember just being completely terrified of going in and embarrassing myself and having no idea what I was doing. I remember for months when I was in that gym going to YouTube and watching the videos of what we were going to be doing because I wanted to learn it before I would go in so I wouldn't embarrass myself. And I remember that roadblock of kind of getting entered into a gym being terrifying, coming from someone that only ran in his life. That's all I knew how to do. My cardio was good. I could run well, but I had no idea how to lift a weight. I had no idea what the difference between a dumbbell snatch was and a dumbbell clean was. And from that story, I remember, or now looking back at it, having the support crew by my side to continue forcing me into the gym, and forcing, I mean like they were forcing me into the gym, and having a goal that was important enough kept me along for enough time that I started to fall in love with it and started to see results. And once those results came, I mean, as soon as I saw the scale go up a little bit and as soon as I saw that my strength was getting better, I was completely hooked to it and I knew it was my thing. But I remember those first couple of weeks being just absolutely terrifying, and pulling from that, having a strong support crew and having a goal written down that is important enough to you that you will not quit is super important. Story number 2 is a competition. So at that point, I was getting more and more serious about my fitness, and I started doing some competitions. And in 2023, I signed up for one called the Tampa Bay Games. And the first workout, it was 3 or 4 rounds of doing a push press with a barbell, a burpee, and some rowing. And prior to the competition, I had probably done the workout 3 or 4 times. And when I was super serious about my fitness, I was super analytical about everything. I would say, okay, I'm going to do this number of reps, and I'm going to take this many seconds of rest, and I'm going to do this many reps and this many seconds of rest. And I would do it 3 or 4 different ways prior to the competition to figure out how I can do it my fastest and execute the best I could. And I remember, and for some reason, I had done a lot of competitions up to this point, that this workout always sticks with me, that I stepped out on the floor and I looked at everybody around me, and everyone always looks fitter to me and looks like they're going to destroy me. And I was in my head at that moment, I was like, I have to change my entire plan. This is not going to work. I'm going to get crushed by everybody, and I needed to change it. And at that point, I had done it 3 times. I had come up with this great plan that was going to help me do the best I could, and I still just didn't have the confidence that it was enough. And as soon as the 3, 2, 1 went off and I went out and started the workout, I'm like, just trust what you do, Colin. Believe in your plan that it's the best you can do. And I remember just being terrified that it wasn't going to be enough. And I followed my plan to the T, and I ended up winning that workout and doing really well in that competition. And that was a big moment for me, just like when you work hard enough and you create the plan that no matter what anybody else tells you, if you believe that what you have put into place is going to be the best possible solution, you have to stick to it no matter what, that there's not an alternative. You create the plan, you work on the plan, and you follow through with it the best you can. And I don't think anything else can really derail that if you have the confidence in what you're doing. Story number 3 is starting Tilla Fit. So in 2023, Izzy and I kind of had set out to start a gym. It was one of our goals. It became something that was just in our hearts we had to do. And I went to work at a gym in Sanford, and Izzy went through a couple part-time gigs and ended up starting Tilla Fit in the park. And when she started Tilla Fit in the park, we grew from 0 members, just Izzy's mom and dad, grandma and brother, and to about 40 members over the course of the year in that park. And it kind of came to the point where we had to make a decision whether we were going to really commit to something or whether we were going to stay where we were and potentially halt our growth in the park. And signing the lease to this building was probably one of the more terrifying things we had done in our life. And the only thing that gave me confidence that not a lot of people saw, Izzy's probably one of the only people that ever really saw it, was all the way through 2023 and all the way through 2024, leading up to the signing the lease of this building. I have notebooks and PowerPoints and Word documents just filled with information on how I thought a gym needed to be run and how many members we needed to have to make it work, and just everything. I ran through every single thought and every single situation and scenario that could happen in a gym to lead up to that point. And signing the lease was terrifying, but knowing that I had done the grunt work leading up to it for years, planning things out and understanding how the business works, there was more confidence going into it. And that kind of leads back to that first point as well, that without the dirty work and without the preparation and without really doing the work leading up to that moment, that's what builds your confidence and gives you the plan to go into it full attack mode with nothing holding you back. And kind of my overall message for today is we want to help people become the better version of themselves here at Tilla Fit. And I understand there's a lot of hesitation coming in, but have a goal, have a support crew, and make it through those first couple weeks. And once that's done, you'll build the confidence to continue coming back, continue putting in the work and becoming a better version of yourself. But it'll never be easy. It's not something that happens overnight. You just have to want it enough and put in the work those first couple weeks, couple months, couple years, and it'll happen. It just takes time and takes the will. That's all I got. Story time's over. Happy Friday.